Hello friends, and welcome to Pharmacist Diaries, the podcast that reveals the secret lives of pharmacists, from where their journeys began, where they are now, and everything in between. Before we start today's conversation, I'd really like to take the time to say thanks. A thank you to all of you who have chosen to listen or watch the podcast, but also a thank you to all of my guests who have chosen to dive deep into conversation with me and share their professional and personal journeys. You guys have enabled me to embed creativity into my day-to-day life, and I'm so fortunate that I can share that joy and passion with you through this platform. This podcast has been a passion project of mine outside of my role as a full-time pharmacist, a mother and a wife. Everything you see and hear has been built in my spare time. In order for this platform to grow and provide you with insight into the lives of pharmacists, I really need you to hit that subscribe button. I am super excited for what's in store for 2023, and a lot of that will depend on the number of you that subscribe to the channel and tune in to regular conversations. Thanks again for all the support, and I'm really looking forward to the development of this podcast and our pharmacy community. Don't forget, my website is now live and up and running. You can access full show notes to all of my episodes and more at www.pharmacistdiaries.com. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter so you can receive emails of upcoming episodes, free content, and regular inspiration. Now let's see what's in store for this week's episode. We're back.
We're back.
It's been a while.
I didn't think it'd been that long, but it has been that long.
It's been, I think, since August of 2021.
Wow. What have we been doing since then?
A lot.
A lot. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. There's so much to talk about. I think we've wanted to be doing, well, we've tried to do this a few times. Not actually sit down like this, but we've said we're going to record the podcast. And I really, really wanted to do one when we went to Mexico. But when we got there, I was just like, it didn't feel like the right thing to do because we'd have to get rid of Lily for a couple of hours. She wasn't too happy about. And then I just thought, well, we can record a podcast and it would have been nice, but yeah. So we didn't do it then. And then we just haven't sat down to do it. So I think what prompted me was just to get it done before the little baby comes, because then it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, so the last time we recorded, probably about a month and a half later, we found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Big news.
Big news. So should we talk about that first? Should we talk about pregnancy first?
Yeah, sure.
So how's it been?
It's been a journey, but it's so close to the end now. I've only got 3.5 weeks to go, if that. It's been really different to Lily's pregnancy. A lot harder. A lot more challenges and obstacles along the way in comparison to the first time I was pregnant, where I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And I did say I could be a surrogate mother and enjoy being pregnant because I loved it that much. But this time it's been hard because I had insomnia for about 8 months. I've only really started sleeping again for the last week to 10 days. And obviously we're nearly in the 10th month. And then obviously the gestational diabetes, my best friend.
Diabetes came back.
Yeah. So this time we got tested for just your general sugars, your fasting sugars, and then 1 hour post-meal. At 10 or 11 weeks, they start in your second pregnancy. If you've had gestational diabetes before, they check it really early in your first trimester and you start your recordings. And they were immediately out of range with relatively healthy meals. Very healthy meals, actually. Nothing out of the ordinary. So within a couple of weeks, we decided that we would start insulin, which is a lot faster than you would normally start insulin, because at least you would be diet controlled, but our diet is quite nutritious and diabetic friendly, but unfortunately it didn't, my body just hasn't been responding to it very well. So obviously I didn't want to go on to tablets because I knew eventually as the pregnancy progresses, the diabetes would progress with it. So I said, just let's go with the insulin from now. And we did a couple of units at lunch, a couple of units at dinner, because my breakfast seemed to be okay. And it has progressed quite significantly. I've, over tripled my doses now. Plus I'm having breakfast doses. So it's been quite a challenge. And then when you think a meal works, a couple of weeks later, unfortunately your body doesn't respond the same way. So that constant change has been quite a challenge for me. But and you've eaten the same diet as me,
pretty much,
to conform to being a diabetic alongside with me and Lily.
The last time you weren't on insulin, you were on tablets.
Yeah, last time it was around 10 weeks before the end of the pregnancy. I went on to tablets twice daily, and then was diet controlled, and that actually was pretty much enough to keep me going. We did have some issues, but not as bad as we've experienced this time. Nowhere near as bad. And it was hard last time. Those last 10 weeks, it felt like it was a really long time to be a diabetic. And because I've been going through that for multiple months this time, I genuinely feel a lot of compassion for people who have type 1 diabetes and have insulin for their entire lives, because it's really not an easy journey. It's very challenging to feel like you need to eat lots of protein, lots of fats, and kind of reduce the amount of sort of carbohydrates that you're eating. And I am overly sensitive because I have a diabetic friend at work and she can eat so much more variety of food than I can. So it is dependent on the individual. But, even limited amounts of fruit affect me. So, 2-3 strawberries is like my limit. But I need to pair it with some form of protein. So I've been having like a crazy amount of peanut butter, which has helped. And I love peanut butter. This baby is going to love peanut butter, a bit like our Lily, who's obsessed with peanut butter.
Basically.
She's obsessed. Because I ate so much peanut butter during her pregnancy as well.
Is that actually true? Does that correlate? I don't know. I don't know if that's.
I'm assuming it does, because she's obsessed with peanut butter. She'll put it on anything and eat it directly from a pot.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some correlation there, but the diet. The diabetes last time was we did really well last time to control it with diet. We did really, really well. But also last time, and I've said this along the whole process, last time when you were pregnant, we were living in a hot country. We didn't have a child. It was just the two of us. Our lifestyles were completely different. If I reflect back and honestly say about myself, and I can reflect back and say I knew that we were way fitter than we are now. I mean, we were exercising a lot. I mean, every day. I was in the gym. I was working in the gym. We were going out for runs. We were going for walks. We were going for our Friday weekend workouts with our friends. We were doing a lot of physical activity. So, I think that played a significant factor. And of course, this time, I think one thing we did notice was your glucose levels would peak, particularly when there was a lot of stress around. Yeah,
no, 100%. I mean, our lifestyle is busy, and having another child in the house and someone else to worry about obviously impacts your stress significantly. It's another human to take care of, and she's had her ups and downs. Let's be fair on her. Like, she's had chickenpox and coronavirus and ups and downs starting in reception. So, she's going through her own kind of emotional issues. And you have to be there for them. You've got no choice. It's not like you can just turn off from that. We've had episodes of her like having quite a bit of anxiety and bedwetting at night time for quite a few weeks, which was really hard because even though I was awake with insomnia, it's absolutely exhausting to then have to look after a child at night time as well, and then go to work the next day. And I mean, people who listen to this podcast or have listened to previous episodes know that I work in central London. I'm in Waterloo, so my commute is 90 minutes each way. So doing that off 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night, and it was consistently 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night every single day. It wasn't hit and miss where I'd catch up on sleep. You know, after so much exhaustion, some people crash for like 12 hours. I literally just lived off very limited sleep for so many months, and then no naps during the day because my body just was wired and awake and just did not allow me to rest. And that was really stressful. Working, commuting, all impacted my stress. And I think the lack of sleep also affected my sugars significantly, because when we look at my life now, I've started my maternity leave. It's been, 4 or 5 days of that. And last week I started sort of slowing down a little bit, and finishing off things at work. And my sugars magically changed. They're absolutely fine. They're all in range. And I'm eating, not whatever I want. It's a very still diabetic friendly, meals, but I can eat a lot more. I can add quite a bit more fruit and my numbers are still good. They're still in range. While before that, we'd have some really high peaks.
Yeah.
So I'm really aware of stress and insomnia and lack of sleep impacting my my sugars.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because no matter how healthy you are with your lifestyle, when thankfully last time the diabetes, it generally goes away, but that doesn't always happen. But it did go away. This time it came and it was a little bit worse. And it doesn't really matter how healthy you are. Sometimes it's just there's certain risk factors, aren't there? And I think our risk factors, if we look at the risk factors of diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, it's overweight and inactive, which you're not. It's genetic. There's a family history. You don't have a family history. Did you, Bart?
No family history.
So you've got no family
diabetes.
history of type 2 diabetes. Steroid medication or certain drugs that can raise glucose levels, which you're not taking. So the only risk factor you've got is the ethnic populations. So there are, the ethnic populations, people from Asia, Africa, Caribbean, all of those parts of the world, they are at higher risk. So you're comparing you to your friend. Where's your friend from? She's English. She's English. She's white British. So there's a perfect example of someone who's doesn't have that risk factor, and they can get away with a lot more. Whereas just having that risk factor of being from that ethnic group, it increases your chances. So I've learned a lot from this experience as well, from just about diabetes. It's been fascinating just understanding how much, a little bit of fruit can really spiral your glucose levels out of control, and how someone else can't. And I try to, as a coach on a diabetes program, I try to explain this. And it's hard because you're trying to address a large group of people, but I try to explain that everyone's different. We all are going to respond to things very, very differently. It's a very individual thing. And the stress, of course, I think for me, this is the big one. I mean, we look at stress and diabetes, for example. Someone can have a perfect diet. Someone can be a professional athlete. Right? And I've had people on our program who are marathon runners and cyclists and triathletes, swimmers. They're in great shape. They've got great diets because they're really serious about their sport, but their glucose levels are high. And those people often are confused because they're like, hold on a minute, I'm not overweight. I'm active. I eat a good diet. And then I ask them, let's talk about stress and sleep and, these things. And for these, especially for the athletes, it's the training and it's waking up in the morning early and not getting enough sleep and then working and then family life and all of that. That's gonna raise someone's glucose levels up. So I think stress is not just obviously affecting our risk of diabetes, but affects our risk of lots of different other conditions and diseases. So I think prioritizing what you can do about that, I think should be a high priority, not just for people who are at risk of these types of conditions, but for everyone, right? Because stress can impact us all in different ways. So having your daily habit to mitigate it or to manage it is important. And I've been thinking about this recently, and I think we look after our health in so many different ways. People go to the hairdressers, they go to nail salons, they go to the barbers, they go to the doctors, they go to get their teeth white, and all these things, right, we do to look after our health. But what do we do for our mind, for our brain? I'll give you an example, like brushing your teeth. Why do we brush our teeth?
To keep them healthy and clean.
To keep them clean. If I don't brush my teeth tonight, am I going to wake up with unhealthy teeth tomorrow?
Not over one day.
Not over one night, right? So why am I brushing my teeth? As you said, it's to keep them. It's a preventative measure, right? Brushing my teeth I brush my teeth twice a day to stop myself in the future from having problems with my teeth. It's not because you wake up in the morning, you've got a smelly mouth. That's fine. So you brush your teeth to address that, and it feels good and it's fresh and clean. But you're not doing it as a reaction to, oh no, I've got tooth decay or my teeth are falling out, I better brush my teeth. We're doing it to prevent ourselves. Now, most people brush their teeth 2 minutes, twice a day, without fail. Right? It just happens. They don't think about it. They don't have to go, I've got to brush my teeth, unless you're Liliana. I mean, she's chasing her around the house. But we'll talk about her in a moment. I know what you want to say. But most people don't have to motivate themselves to brush their teeth. So we spend 4 minutes a day. And then I ask the next question is, can you live without your teeth? Can you survive without your teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. So every day we spend 4 minutes looking after a part of our health, which actually we could survive without. What do we do for our brain? So the next question is, can you survive without your brain? No, you can't. What's the equivalent of brushing your teeth for your brain? And in a lot of cases, people don't have anything because they just, we don't think of it that way. So this is where sort of the things that we talk about for managing stress are so important. It's the brushing your teeth. It's the keeping your brain healthy. It's keeping your brain working. So no matter what those things are that people do, and it's really easy if people sit and listen and go, well, I don't know, how do you manage stress? Well, really simply, and I'll ask you, if we take the word stress, what's the opposite word to stress for you? What's the opposite word?
Relaxed.
Yeah, relax. That's definitely the one I would say. So I say, what's the opposite of the word stress? We say relaxation. We say calm, happiness. Okay, let's just take those three. Well, the question now becomes, what are you doing each day to bring some relaxation, calm, and happiness to your life? Because if you are doing something that's going to bring you some calm, some relaxation, and some happiness each day, then that's the equivalent of brushing your teeth for me. And this is why I think this is so important. And starting to, people think, I have to meditate and all these things. Yeah, those things are great, but it doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be mindfulness, right? You could just go for a walk. You can just do some exercise. You could just call your mum, if you get on with your mum, that is, and have a good conversation with her. You call your best friend. You can go for a coffee with a friend like you did today. You saw someone you hadn't seen for a while, right? These are all the little things. These are the things that we maybe take for granted, but actually, if we recognize them as, actually, I'm doing this to help my brain, to help keep my mind healthy. Your bar, for example, bless her soul, but she used to do Sudoku, didn't she? I know
she loves Sudoku.
Yeah, a lot of elderly people love the Sudoku. And I remember asking her, why do you do Sudoku? And she's like, it just keeps my brain healthy. And she'd never been educated on this stuff, but she got it. She understood. And that was probably from your grandfather, because he was very much into his, reading the paper and keeping his mind active.
Oh, yeah.
Doing his exercise. He was fantastic at that, wasn't he? So yeah, stress, I think, it's going to affect all of us. It's going to affect all of us at some stage in our life. We're all going to react to it differently. And I think all we need to understand is stress is simply just the way that our body responds. It's just a response. So if it's a response and we can understand it, then we can hopefully go some way to try and control it.
Yeah. I think I didn't really think of myself as feeling stressed before the pregnancy with our lifestyle, but I'm sure there's definitely an element of it. And we were trying our best to control and prevent it. I mean, we got the Champneys membership. I was going 3 times a week, like swimming and relaxing, and all of that helped. Been meditating, doing bits of yoga here and there. So there's definitely things that we've been doing to support my mental health. But at the end of the day, when you add in a pregnancy, plus I was studying to become a prescriber at the time of the pregnancy. And then when you add medical issues, which are unexpected and very difficult to manage because they are quite out of my control. The insomnia, we did so many things to try and reverse it, but we came to the conclusion that it's definitely 100% hormonally related to the pregnancy. And every healthcare professional I saw said that I just needed to accept that it was going to be part of my life for the moment. And with the diabetes, there's nothing that I could have done to prevent that from happening to me. It's all related to the placenta and the hormones that stop your insulin from working like efficiently. So accepting that took me months, right? I was so angry that my sugars were out of control, and feeling out of control is not an enjoyable experience, which also then kind of impacted my stress. But there was a moment, it was when I had that conversation with Nilesh when he came round. And he always sparks a little bit of thought in my brain when I have conversations with him, because he always takes the time to really dig deep.
He challenges you.
Yeah, I love that guy. And that conversation then got me to start regular meditation rather than ad hoc whenever I felt like it. And I did consistently for 60 plus days, but within 10 to 14 days, I was getting an extra 1 to 2 hours of sleep, and I actually emotionally felt so much more in control. And I felt a lot happier, a lot more at ease with what I was dealing with. In fact, at work, people actually said that I looked better. My boss noticed that my kind of like my happiness score had gone back up to, you know, not 100%, but let's say 75%, because normally I'm really happy at work, and the lack of sleep and the fatigue was just draining me. So I'd come to work looking probably really deflated and feeling really deflated, but getting on with what I needed to do. So she had made a comment that I looked a lot better, and I was like, actually, you know, I downloaded this app called Balance, and I've been using their meditation techniques, and it's really making a difference. She downloaded it and has been using it ever since. So that, you know, really impacted me. So it definitely adds value, right? I was using the meditation every day before bedtime, and then when I wake up in the night, sometimes I was using it again to try and help me to fall back asleep. Some days it worked, some days it didn't, but that change in emotional health was really important for me.
Yeah, the meditation definitely. I noticed the difference straight away when I've been consistent with it. It's so powerful. And yeah, I think you're right. You said something there about accepting. I think that's the first step, isn't it? It's about accepting where we are with our health. Again, what's in our control, right?
I know.
It's not in your control, right? Yes, you can manage your diet. Yes, you can do that. But if your placenta and your pancreas and all these things are doing all these things, right? We can't control it. So, and it's frustrating. I get it. It's frustrating because I get frustrated when my shoulder's hurting. You know, I get frustrated when I can't go for a run, or my back's hurting and I can't lift weights and all these things. But I can't control them on any given day. I just have to focus on what I can do. And what am I in control of when I wake up each morning? Well, it's whether I decide to eat some vegetables that day, whether I decide to go do some exercise or go for a walk or do my skipping, and whether I decide to take some time for myself and you know look after my mental health. And I think that can take time. It can take time to get to that. I still struggle with it. We all struggle with it, but it's getting better. It's getting better, and I think, you know, for me anyway, the journaling has definitely helped. Just the writing of things down, just recognizing the wins. And actually that's been the biggest thing for me that's helped me, is just recording the successes in the day. So I keep I haven't got my notepad, it's over there, but I keep a little tally. I just do a little tally each day of how many people I've spoken to. So just little ticks. And at the end of the day, I look at the tally, and no matter how the day's gone, I remind myself and say to myself, or Sunjay, and I sometimes write this down. I say, Sunjay, today you've helped 75 people to improve their health. You've done a good thing. And I don't, that's not to show off to anyone. I think that's the first time I've told you that as well. I haven't told you that before. I don't share it with anyone. It's just something I do so that at the end of the day, no matter what's happened, I can sit back and go, do you know what? I've done something good has happened today. And that, to me, that's real self-care, right? We talk about self-compassion and being kind to yourself and all of these things. That for me is my self-care, my self-compassion for each day. It's just recognizing, hey, you know what? You have done something good today. All these people you speak to each day, that's something good. You're helping people. And like I said, I don't want a reward. I don't want a pay rise, although that would be nice. I just want myself to acknowledge that, because no one else is going to do it, right? Let's be honest, right? And no one's going to come to me and go, oh, Sunjay, what have you done? Like a child, what have you done today? How was your day at school? And what did you do? And like, oh, well done. You've done a really good job on talking to all those people, right? I mean, that doesn't, some people might do it, but you can't expect other people. You can't wait for other people. And this is what I say to everyone. It's like, you can motivate yourself, because by me doing that, how do I feel? I feel good. And I feel like the next day I can't wait to do it again. And it motivates me. And I don't need any extrinsic motivation apart from, I did something good today. So I think recognizing your wins and your successes along the way has been a big part for me to manage stress and change your outlook. And I think that's also a key thing, right? Where sometimes we're wired to look at things, certainly, half glass full, half glass empty. Yeah, half glass full, half glass empty type scenario, right? So if you're the half glass empty type of person, then we can just start to reframe some of those thoughts. But you have to become aware of them first. So for me, and I say this to everyone, I say, look, just take stock each day. Write down something that you're grateful for. Write down something that was good that happened today. And there's always going to be something. Right? And I do not accept from anyone. And look, there are going to be days where there's tragedy. There's shit's happened and things are crap. But most of the time, this week, for example, the sun's shining. If nothing else, is the sun not shining making people feel better? Of course it is. Everyone's waiting. Yeah. A lot of people are waking up in the morning, and I've asked people, everyone's happier. So yeah, so that the journaling, the recognizing your little wins, and being your own cheerleader, right? I think if you can be your own cheerleader, and this is not big-headed, this is not you showing off or being self-indulgent. This is you taking care of yourself. Can you hear that? That's my stomach. It's you taking care of yourself, and if you take care of yourself, then you can be there for other people. You can be there for your husband, your wife, your daughter, your son, your mum, your dad, your brother, sister, whoever you want to be there for, your neighbors, your boss, your employees. Just be the best version of yourself, or the best version that you can be. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and it's funny how you we know these things. And we're starting to learn them and implement them into our lives over the last couple of years at least. But it's quite easy to fall into the trap of feeling sorry for yourself, which is what happened to me. I felt really sorry for myself. And partly I was trying to be compassionate and show myself some compassion that actually this is a hard time. But it took me so long to accept that a lot of it was out of my control. And I just kept waiting, because I think part of it is that in healthcare as well, they know there's nothing that they can do for me in this situation. So they kept saying to me that wait till the next trimester, hopefully it will subside. And then, you kind of wait for, 13 weeks. I waited. I was like, first trimester, when it's over, hopefully my hormones will calm down and my insomnia will go away. It just kept getting worse. And then second trimester at the end, I was like, oh, maybe by third trimester we'll be fine. And it didn't go away. So, you know, I think the constant kind of ups and downs they have been really challenging. But I've actually learned quite a lot from this experience about myself. And now that I've actually started my maternity leave and I've taken the opportunity to finish work a month early before the baby potentially arrives, I've started to realize how much I was trying to do within this time. And, you know, it was kind of necessary that I still needed to get on with my life and be pregnant and finish my prescribing course and be a parent and a wife and, you know, look after the house and all of those things. But juggling all of that was much harder than I ever imagined.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that we only have 3.5 weeks left. And I'm so grateful to be on maternity leave right now and actually be at home, relaxing, nesting. And I think my body has actually really come around to that idea that it knows I'm in nesting mode. I know they always say that you go into nesting mode and start hyper cleaning and preparing the baby's room before the baby arrives. It's not that type of nesting. For me, it's get as much sleep as you can. And my body's like been napping every day, sleeping at night. Like it's like a miracle. But I think it's because it knows that I need the rest. And finally, I'm actually getting the sleep that I need before this baby arrives and I'm back into insomnia mode.
Yeah. I mean, and also that, like you said, there's being on mat leave, you don't have to worry about going to work and you don't have to deal with all that stuff. So that obviously plays a big part. So yeah. So 3.5 weeks to go, which is gonna fly by. We're kind of ready, aren't we?
I think so. I'm a little bit nervous about a few things, but yeah, we are ready as a family. Liliana's ready. She's absolutely ready. I cannot wait to have my little helper in my life. I can't wait to see their first experience meeting each other. I was thinking about it the other day and I was just like, oh, we have to take a video. Like we have to record it because it's a really important memory. When you think about it, because it'll be nice also for the baby to then see that kind of reaction from her perspective as an older sister. And I've been having a lot of visualizations about what she's going to be like as a big sister and how helpful she's going to be to me, but also how kind and loving and caring she will be to this baby. So it's a new journey for us, but a really exciting one. I am really happy. But I am nervous. I'm nervous about giving birth again, a little bit. I had to do my birth plan. I didn't even include you in the conversation, which I was supposed to with before I went to meet the midwife. But I was like, no, I know what I want, and I know that the decisions I make for myself, you'll be happy with them. So some of the questions that kind of came up, the same as last time, I don't want any pain relief. And the lady read my notes and again, her mouth dropped. She's like, what do you mean? You had 30 hours of labor, you got induced and you still didn't take the pain relief. She's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. And I'm going to do it again. I was like, I can be in control of that situation. That's the only thing that I feel like I have control of in a birthing situation, except for if I go have a C-section, then obviously then I'll receive anesthetics and pain relief. But if I'm going for a natural birth, even if I'm induced, this is one thing I can be in control of, is that I can accept that I don't need it. I've done it before, I can do it again. I am a little bit nervous, obviously, because this whole pregnancy has been a different experience. So I hope that I have the strength to be able to do it. I'm sure I can. But then it was like, oh, who's going to cut the cord? And I just thought back and I was like, oh, like Sunjay didn't do it last time. It was my dad. So I was like, oh, I'll have to ask him. But I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll do it. So I needed to have that discussion with you. And also if I have a C-section, an emergency one, I needed to ask you whether or not you wanted to come inside the OR, because that is going to be quite a different experience for you to be inside an operating theatre.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Exactly. I said to her that I'd actually rather go alone because I don't want to put him under stress. I'd rather not have him worry and be anxious about being in an operating theatre, because I know that you wouldn't really enjoy that experience.
But you'll be knocked out though, right?
No, you're awake.
What?
Yeah, you're awake.
Oh, well, then if you want me there, of course I'll be there. That's not even a question.
It's not about wanting. I mean, most women obviously would have their partners or husbands with them. I completely have put your feelings first. And I told her, I said, no, he won't come with me. It's absolutely fine. Like, I'll just do it on my own. She's like, what? She's like, you can have a second person nominated to come into the hospital with you. I'm like, no, it's absolutely fine. I'll do it on my own. I'm cool with that. Again, her eyebrows raised because she thought I was a bit strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences between this time round and last time round in terms of the medical care and the responses. Last time it was 100% private. It went smoothly. But then actually, I was just thinking as you were talking there that last time you said the pregnancy was perfect, everything went really well, but the labour was probably the only difficult part, right? That was the 30 hours. Yeah. That was tough. This time around, it might be the other way around. It might be that the pregnancy's been super tough with everything that we just discussed, and the labour might just be, super easy.
Boom.
Yeah.
Job done.
He pops out and we go home. I hope.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. So you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. You never know how you're going to react. I don't know how I'm going to react. So, but yeah, for sure we're going to be recording it. I mean, come on, hello, who are you talking to here? Got like 5 cameras around me right now. So,
well, it's a question I need to ask the consultant. That actually, inside when you're actually giving birth, like, are you allowed to bring a video camera inside the birthing suite?
You used to be able to. People used to record.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can, but I need to ask.
We'll just hide our GoPro up between your legs somewhere. I'll get Lily to hold it.
Get up close and personal.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, actually, making movies. Hey, watch out Instagram, you're going to be flooded with baby movies coming up soon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to making those reels and just playing around and like you said, just capturing those moments, because they are super precious moments, and especially when you've got a child like Lily and she meets her brother for the first time and they grow up together and all of that stuff. So I'm looking forward to having all of those, building all those memories, which is going to be amazing. Yeah,
and I mean, the other thing I was kind of anxious about, but I'm working on it, is the late nights and the lack of sleep and looking after another human. It's going to be a tough few weeks, but I know I have you.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
I'm not.
okay.
That stuff doesn't really.
It doesn't bother you.
It doesn't bother me.
I know, it's so strange. And then I thought back to last time, and you did most of the work.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
And you were fine with it. And I think that's why I have the anxiety, because I didn't really do it last time. I spent most of my nights pumping milk, and you would wake up to deal with Liliana. So she was with you every single night for months. And because I went back to work so quickly, I used to pump and go straight back to sleep, pass you the milk when I was struggling to keep up with her demand. And then you would do everything that you needed to do. And now this time it's going to be me. So it's not like I've got that previous sort of experience of feeding her overnight, because you honestly did most of it.
Yeah, but you don't have to. The thing is, this time around, you don't have to go back to work quickly. You've got you've got your whole mat leave, so you got loads of time, and it really isn't. It's not that difficult. It's really. And I think this time around, it's right. It's true. The second time, you don't. I mean, I haven't listened to a single parenting birthing podcasts.
I have.
You have. But last time, my goodness, I was obsessed. I listened to all the podcasts, I read all the books, and I was really trying to prepare. But this time around, I think, I'm just a bit more chilled and a bit more relaxed. I'm not nervous because I've seen you do it before, and I've seen how strong you are and how you came through it. So that for me doesn't fill me with any nerves. So I think it'll be fine.
And last time I think we were quite busy when I got back from Abu Dhabi to London because you were already here. I was 37 weeks, so I knew I only had like 2.5 weeks left. And we went on holiday, didn't we? We went to Devon and Cornwall. We went on a hiking trip, literally right before the baby was born. And I had no fear that this baby was going to come early. I had zero fear. I was like, this baby is not going to come early, and if it does, I'm going to be absolutely fine. There are hospitals in Devon. I will be able to just rock up to one and give birth. And I was quite adventurous and spontaneous, and I didn't see any risk at all. I was so risk averse. But this time, I work in pediatrics. I see everything and anything and everything. Especially with early births on the neonatal unit, we see it all the time. I've had the gestational diabetes pretty much the entire pregnancy. So obviously I feel like my risk factors to give birth slightly early have increased. But still deep down, I really truly believe this baby is not going to be early, and it will just come whenever it's ready. But I think it will be sort of close to term, and everything is going to be smooth. Perfect. Deep down. I need to follow my gut and just have confidence and believe that it is what it is and accept whatever comes my way. But because we were so busy last time, I didn't notice the days go by. While this time, obviously, I'm in more of a nesting period where I'm spending more time with Liliana, spending more time resting and sleeping, recovering from the insomnia. So every day that passes, I feel the day pass by and I'm like, it's one day closer to go time. And I'm getting a lot of messages from friends. You must be ready for the baby. So it's a different experience, but it'll be good.
So talking about holidays, let's talk about ours.
Oh, our holiday was epic. Again, a spontaneous and adventurous risk taker going on holiday at 32 and 33 weeks pregnant, so far from home. But it was well worth it. We had a great time. We went to New York for a few days for a wedding, and got to see lots of family and spend time with family, which was wonderful. And then we flew down to Mexico and spent a week at a very luxurious hotel.
We'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, you're right. It was nice being with family overseas, and I feel quite fortunate. I feel quite lucky that since I've met you, we've had quite a few of those overseas experiences with family. So of course we had our wedding, which was amazing in India. We had our safari trip with your grandparents, which is just still the best holiday I've ever had to this day. We had your brother's wedding in India.
Your best holiday was with two
8-year-olds,
85, 86-year-old man and woman. No, it was good though. It was one of the best holidays. It was a really good experience.
Even though so many things didn't work out on the holiday, there was so many things that went wrong. But it was a great holiday. Had your brother's wedding. We had the London wedding, Anup's wedding in London, where everyone came over to here, and then we had his brother's wedding, which we just went to. So yeah, I was glad that Lily, she was old enough now to kind of remember. She was super excited, and she was like,
she was loving it.
Yeah, getting dressed up.
She is a mini version of me.
Obviously.
She's a mini adventurer.
Yeah.
She loves it.
She loved the whole journey, the plane journey, the whole, getting on the plane and like being at the airport and all of that. I mean, it was just super fun for her. So I'm glad that she had a great time and she got to meet the family and experience that. So yeah, New York was amazing. I loved it. We love New York anyway. We've always loved going to New York, but this time it's a bit different because of the wedding. We're only there for a few days, but I'm sure people saw my stories and on Instagram. I'll put some images up now while I'm talking as well, so people can see. But yeah, it was fun, and I had a great day that one day out, just exploring and taking photos and recording and just exploring and just being on my own. That was fantastic. And then, of course, we went to Mexico. So let's talk about this Mexico, because obviously this podcast, I talk a lot about staying whole and being healthy and living a good life and wellness. And that's kind of the reason for the holiday, right? So we decided that we should have a family holiday before he comes, and with Lily, just the three of us. Is that called a baby moon? No, baby moon. Is that a baby moon?
Yeah, but normally a baby moon is usually a childless
it's the couple
adventure.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we had a family.
I think normally.
Yeah, you're right. A honeymoon is just two people, right? So I'm guessing a baby moon is just two people as well. But we had a 3 people baby moon with our daughter. So I remember at the time we were booking it, we were researching and we were looking at places, and then we found this place, and it was like twice the price of the nearest, most expensive place in the area, but it was amazing. So, the place was called I forgot what it's called now.
Palmyra.
Palmyra, that's it. Palmyra.
The House of AIA.
House of Aya. And it's 100. Well, not 100%. It's a mostly plant-based wellness retreat. It's the best way to put it. So it's a wellness retreat, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wellness retreat. So, it was amazing.
Excuse me.
It was amazing. What was your favourite bit about the hotel and about that stay?
I think, about the hotel was the service and the attention to detail to making that experience the best possible experience that you could have as a guest. We've stayed in a lot of nice hotels in our time together, a lot of 5-star, wonderful hotels all around the world. But this hotel, it blew me away. I mean, from the moment that we obviously got to the airport, we had a private transfer. It was luxurious to have an SUV with wonderful air conditioning and Wi-Fi and a fridge, and that was a really good start to the holiday. And we thought, this is great, but is this going to continue? And the checking in process was just smooth and easy, very quiet, no queues. A really relaxed experience, very informative. The fact that they give you somebody who's employed at the hotel to look after you for the entire week, and they create a little WhatsApp group to kind of message you, to book things, to whether that's your evening, meal, whether you need support with, anything during your stay, whether you want to go on an excursion, whether you need help with your diet, because that was one of the things that I needed to raise with them.
It's like a private concierge or private butler. It's almost like a private concierge.
Yeah.
That's what concierges do, but you have your own concierge.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, anything you want.
And they check on you during the day, whether it's through messaging or come and find you wherever you are. They make recommendations in terms of, which wellness sessions to go to and things like that. I mean, that was really, they made life easy. She purposely even said that, let me just book your reservations for dinner every night. Just give me the time that suits you and I'll book and just let you know what I booked. And, you'll get a choice of all the different restaurants and you'll enjoy yourself. And that just took away another little bit of stress of figuring out which restaurant to attend. And one of the best things for me was that because it was plant-based and because I had been consuming so much meat and fish with my diabetes, I was wondering how the diet would work for me on holiday and how much I would be able to eat. But I took the opportunity to ask if I could speak to the chef. And he came to find me, and we discussed my exact needs, what kind of food has worked for me during my pregnancy and during my experience with diabetes. And he said, every night there will be something specific for you to eat that will be tailored to your diet. And every single night, he made an effort to, and breakfast actually, and lunches, he would have like a very special diabetic friendly dessert. Because I said to him very clearly, like, I can't eat any desserts. I can't have any honey or maple syrup or agave. And he made something special for me in every restaurant, like every single day. And luckily, you know, if you do like eating meat or fish, there was a catch of the day. So I was fortunate enough to always have one meal where there was a lot of fish. But thankfully, again, with the lack of stress and, you know, more sleep as well on the holiday, I did sleep a little bit better. You know, my sugars were absolutely fine. And I enjoyed a whole host of plant-based foods, which I had missed so much during my pregnancy. And so many nutritious, delicious, amazing meals. I mean, their food was just divine. That was one of the, you know, major things that I loved about being there.
Yeah. For me, it was the food.
Food was so good.
The food was just
every
phenomenal.
meal.
I mean, service was amazing. Yes, I agree. Service, they made it very easy. They were very polite, very friendly, you know, took care of everything. They were attentive to your needs. I mean, speaking to the chef and that all that you just said was, I was like, wow, that was really amazing. But the food, man, and it was all inclusive, right? So it's like, just have as much as you want. And
as much as you want a la carte. There was no buffets.
No, that's right. There's no buffets. I was so happy to see a buffet.
Just, so good. I mean, if you could try so many things on the menu. And they would make alterations. So there were meals which weren't so diabetic friendly. And then I was like, oh, do you mind? You're cooking shrimp in some of the other dishes. Can the chef just grill me some shrimp for the side? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And they did no questions.
Yep.
No, oh, I'm not sure. I'll ask the chef. It was like, yeah, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was no issues. The room was wonderful, really spacious. We had 2 beautiful showers, rain showers, super hot, amazing water, which is always a luxury in a hotel. The bed was so comfortable. Lily had a bunk bed, which she absolutely loved and enjoyed sleeping in.
With that fantastic view as well, of course, the ocean. So, yeah, there was so much good things there, and just and you know, the weather wasn't great. We know that, but you know, I was trying really hard. I did get a little bit, why doesn't it, you know, because we built it up, didn't we? We said, we're going to go have our last family holiday together. We'll get some sun and beach and, you know, relax. And we didn't get to do all those things. However, I still felt like I had a holiday, right? Yeah. I still felt really happy and relaxed and calm, and I was enjoying myself. And, you know, I did feel the benefits. And I think had we, because last minute we had a wobble, didn't we? We were like, should we spending too much money? Should we just go for the one? I think it was the Fairmont. It was like, the Fairmont's still amazing. I mean, it still was amazing, right? But it didn't have all the food and all that stuff. And we thought we'll save, you know, half the cost. And then we decided not to. And I'm glad we didn't change it, because had we maybe been in a different hotel and the weather wasn't great, maybe they wouldn't have had all those extra services and all the extra facilities. And yeah, the thing for me, the second thing apart from the food and the service, the third thing was the experiences.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, we did we did the Tibetan bowl experience. We did the gong bath, and then they had lots of other ones, right? They had meditation.
I did yoga.
You did yoga. Yeah, you did yoga, and you did
art therapy.
Art therapy,
which I loved.
I did the talk with the shaman, so I went to speak to the shaman, and that was fascinating. But yeah, those were really, really, again, just so different, just something you don't get anywhere else. And the two meditations that we did, the gong bath and the Tibetan bowls, I was just, when we did the gong bath, and I said it to Renee afterwards, I said, I've never felt that deep a level of meditation in my life. I really felt I was just, you know, and Nilesh talks about this sometimes, about when he does his meditations and how deep it goes. And I'd never really experienced that until that time. So, and I remember speaking to both Renee and the shaman afterwards, just to find out a bit more about them. I'm quite curious. I want to know about people. And as we were talking, just generally, both of them, independent, this was 2 separate conversations on 2 separate days. Both of them stressed to me the importance of self-compassion. And I was just like, wow, it's everywhere, right? And again, it's what you manifest in your head, because I've been thinking more about self-compassion. It's what you see out in the world. But they both said how important it is to look after yourself and to be kind to yourself. And I just thought that's it's interesting that we hear about it a lot more now, but even going onto the other side of the world, people are tuned into this and they're talking about it more and more. So yeah, it was fascinating. I'm hoping to get one of them on the podcast actually, because I've linked with them on Instagram. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah, watch this space. It'll be amazing.
Yeah. So despite the rain and the wind and the thunderstorms, we had such a good time, and we even swam, and it was freezing. The beach was wonderful. Obviously, it would have been nice to actually use it, but it was good to be there.
Yeah.
And actually, to some extent, I mean, obviously I missed the sun, is what I wanted. But being in a hotel which felt like you were in a tropical rainforest was also really cool, because it was very green, and when it did rain, it did feel like you were in a different place that you've never kind of been to before. And I wasn't expecting it to be so luscious in Mexico. So it was a really good experience for us. And Lily had a great time. She absolutely loved it. She was in her element. And she had kids club, which was all kind of wellness related. They had baking and time in the greenhouse, watering plants and things like that, and art therapy. So, they had some good activities. So every now and again, she got to enjoy that, and we got to enjoy what we wanted to do.
Yeah, it was amazing. So thinking about self-care, self-compassion, I want to ask you, after this baby's born, what are you going to do? How are you going to make sure that you are doing the equivalent of something that's like brushing your teeth for your mental health? What are you going to do? I want you to commit to it now. I'm doing a Nilish, aren't I? I'm doing a Nilish. Commit to it now. Like set an action. How are you going to look after yourself once the baby's here?
Well, I have been desperate to fall back in love with yoga. It's on my mind a lot of the time. And now I am getting quite large, where a lot of the moves are getting a little bit challenging, and I am exhausted, and I'm accepting that. I'm doing other bits of exercise, still swimming and walking. But one thing I need to do, or what I've been thinking about, is when we get into routine, is finding a time of day where I can spend a minimum of 5 minutes on my yoga mat.
Stop. You just said something there. When we get into routine.
No, I don't mean it in a way that, I'm going to wait until we have a routine. Especially because I'm thinking about like Lily's school routine, and I was thinking that it would be really good that once I drop her off to school, that the first thing I do before I do anything else when I enter the house is get onto my yoga mat, because I know that's achievable, and it's a great time of day for me to spend that time with myself. And normally babies are generally sleeping. Okay. They have their first nap around that time of day. So it would be useful. And regardless if the baby's sleeping or not, that baby's going to be with me on that yoga mat every single day. I did it last time, and I need to just incorporate it into my routine. Obviously, the first few weeks, we're not going to have routine. No. So my expectation is to spend 5 minutes at any point of the day, minimum 5 minutes, on the yoga mat. Whether that's sitting and doing a meditation for 5 minutes, or whether that's actually doing a few stretches, especially with breastfeeding and you sitting up all the time. You need to stretch out your back, because you do get a lot of back pain. I do remember that quite significantly last time.
Yeah.
So I know that there are elements of kind of postnatal care that are going to be really valuable for me. So a minimum of 5 minutes on that yoga mat. Even if I sit on it and do nothing, I need to make it happen.
Amazing.
So I know I said when I get into routine, which is a terrible way of thinking, because you want me to action things now.
No, it's not. It's not a terrible way of thinking. It's when we say, "Oh, when this happens, I'll do this."
Yeah.
Like it's like having a baby. Oh, I'm not going to have kids yet. When we're ready. there's never going to happen, right? When are you ever going to be ready? Whenever you're going to have enough money, right? It's like, oh, when I have money, I'll do this. It's like, well, like do it now, right? Do something. If you can't do the thing,
do something
that's a step towards it. So you mentioned just sitting on your yoga mat. Brilliant. That's it, right? If someone wants to go for a run, put your running shoes on, right? We talked about this when we did when we did the Habits podcast. But so I'm just aware, and I'm aware of myself saying that, oh, when this happens, I'll do this. And it just doesn't happen, right? And that day never comes, and then you end up not doing it, and then you just wasted a lot of time. So, yeah, just doing the bare minimum. And for me recently, it's just been getting outdoors and doing I've been doing exercise outdoors every morning, as you've seen, and it's been like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. Get my skipping rope out. And I want to do loads more. There's loads more. I want to get the ropes out. I want to get the barbell out, put it on the grass and do a little, a proper outdoor workout, but we just haven't had the time. We haven't had the capacity. So I'm like, well, what's the next best thing I can do towards that? And look how it started, right? First it was the skipping rope and I was just skipping. Then I used the slant board to do my knees over toes squats. Then now I'm introducing a kettlebell into that little routine. And see how it's growing. Eventually it will be. And it's, I think for me, that's a big learning point. It's just, and we've talked about this before, we're both all or nothing humans. We want to do it all or nothing at all. And I think I'm trying really hard to break through that, and it's working slowly. We are doing these things slowly. So, it's just do it. Just do something, right? Just 100%. Make that 100%. Step towards it.
One of my goals during maternity leave is to be able to headstand. Yeah, forehand stand, even.
A forearm stand.
Forearm stand. Oh my God, I said that so wrong.
Yeah.
Forearm stand. Because I can headstand so easily now.
But it's still on your head, right? It's just when you're on your forearms.
Forearms, but head's off the floor.
Yeah. Oh, head's off the floor?
Head's off the floor, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
So I'm hoping to be able to build the strength towards doing that. I'm sure I can achieve it. I'd like to say that I'll get to the point of being able to do a handstand within a year. And I think that's achievable. But the forearm stand is the stepping stone for me to get there. So that's one of my maternity goals.
Mine is going to be, I'm going to try something a bit different. I want to, a couple of times in the week, get out with my camera and do some photography. I've missed photography. I've been spending so much time doing video and reels and producing stuff for other people and videography. I love it. It's great. But my first true love into this, the reason we're sitting here today is because I like taking photos. And I just haven't done enough of that. And we've also decided that we're going to fill the house with memories from the photos that I've taken because, even if I say so myself, some of them are quite good. So I'm going to make sure I get out, have some me time and just take some photos. Like that day I talked about in New York. That day I had on my own, which you kindly gave me the freedom to go and do. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to take my camera and I just wandered and I just took loads of photos and I was just enjoying that day. And I want to do a bit more of that. So that's my one, as well as keep up the exercise and all those things. So
I'm so glad you got that day to do that because it was fun for you.
Yeah, it was.
One of our family members, Rachel, well, she's not part of our family yet, she will be. But I consider her my family. She was like, I can't believe you let Sunjay just go gallivanting around New York for the whole day. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's just so kind of you. And I was like, yeah, but he's just so passionate about taking pictures and why would I say no? She's like, yeah, but it's hard for you because obviously you're very pregnant and you have another child to look after. I was like, it didn't even cross my mind because he loves it so much and if it makes him happy, then why would I say no? So I'm really glad that you got that day to yourself.
Yeah, I'm really glad you gave it to me. Awesome. All right, well, till next time, there'll be 4 of us.
Agreed.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, watch this space.
Stay tuned.